Hello everybody, welcome back to the final round of the RP series. This is round 6, the final here at the Circuito de Barcelona, Catalunya. On the weekend, where in the real world we are melting to death in the UK, and in game it is raining. But that's gone well, hasn't it? My name is Huski, and I'm here once again to go through what is happening on track and off track, but mostly on track, because yes, I've also got my dinner because I completely forgot to make it beforehand. And with what is a relatively small grid for RP series, 9 cars currently on track for our half-an-hour qualifying session. Comprising of 8 GT3s and 1 GT4. But I don't know, it is Barcelona. We can see some relatively interesting things occur. Yes, I am eating. Go away. It was one of those moments where it was like, yeah, I need to make food. So I started to make food, forgot I was making food, had to panic and make food, and now I've got food. So, bleh. I mean, we're going to leave, you know, the section of the stream that everyone loves, which is Huski's takeaway talk, until later on in today's race. Obviously, as I have takeaway on a Saturday, it seems to have made itself quite a quite an interesting, what's the word? Feature on my streams. From what I can see, it just looks like Muscle has said, go mad. Essentially, we'll have a quick gander at the track and just at the chat and just see. So Favich just isn't going to set a quali lap, essentially. So half-hour GT3 qualifying. Also, for anyone wondering, I'm currently eating instant noodles. I know they're very, very bad food and, you know, can barely be classified as food. But I like them. So, Blair. I don't understand how what's the word? How instant noodles work, because, you know, there's like, I got 6 packets for £1. And, you know, it is food. Essentially. You know, I can't I can't say that, you know, instant noodles aren't food because, you know, it's stuff that goes in your face. Right, anyway, let's get on board with Toby Long as he heads through turn 1 and turn 2. Very interesting chicane in the dry. You need to get the entrance right by getting the exit right of turn 1. Then you're into turn 3. You want to be looking out to the left-hand side for your accelerating point. Little bit of a straight now. Turn 4, uphill. Last time I drove Barcelona, it was very easy to wash out, and then you also have turn 5, where it's very easy to do that. Whoa, we've gone for a spin. Oh, quick, quick, let's grab the Aston Martin, quick. That one, there you go. Through, I guess, turn 7, turn 6, then turn 7. We're now on board with Bingus McBongus in the number 8 Aston Martin. Get uphill again, very easy to wash out into the sand, which you don't want to do. Then into turn 10 and 11. The old style turn 10 and 11, it hasn't been updated. Tight left-hander for 10. Oh, left-hander for 11, very easy to bounce the car and go around. Then you're straight into turn 12, into the final couple of corners. And then the final chicane, which I think has also been yeeted off into the stratosphere somehow. Final corner now, again, very easy to wash out, but there is a good amount of curbing there you want to use. And across the line, we're going to see what time that is. It's a 153.6. That is enough to put Bingus McBongus on provisional pole as it stands. Let's jump and watch Frederick Schoblum now for a little bit. The race time Oink Motorsport driver, the 951 Porsche. I believe the old Porsche. In the silver category. No number plates on the side. He's decided just to slam a big 951 on the door. Which, I mean, same. Currently P4. We'll see when he comes across the line what it's going to be. Is it going to be an improvement? No. Stays P4. There at the minute. And Sylvain Hubble now takes provisional pole of 153.1. And I'm going to absolutely butcher this. Ricard Rexmad. I tried. In the number 11 Mercedes Manjo Cats Esports. In that very striking black Mercedes livery, so I expect it's one that just wasn't added into the pack. Currently 6/10 off of pole position. And just under 2/10 off of second place. Bingus McBongus is solidly in provisional pole for silver class. And Gary Rowe is absolutely safe in the lead of bronze class at this moment in time, as there is a yellow flag for some obscure reason. And it has cleared up. Look, you can see that is Sylvain Hubble just ahead. Through the final chicane. Now the final corner onto the straight. We'll see. Is it going to be an improvement for Ricard? No, it's not, but it was an improvement for Sylvain Hubble. And Notario as well goes into P2. just under 7.5 tenths off of pole position. So that is a quite considerable gap there that Sylvain has pulled from the rest of the pack. We will have to see how he manages in the race, as if it's still going to be rainy. It might be a quite interesting time there for them. As we are coming up now to 19 minutes left in today's qualifying, so there is still a bit of time left for drivers to make up positions, make up time, you know, make up what is needed. Joel hasn't come out onto the track yet for a qualifying lap. So we will have to see what happens there for him, as he would then be starting behind the GT4 car of Fabish. Bring us at longest back into P2, 153.232. The silver class driver nestling himself between the platinum pack, as Big has come into the server. If anyone knows, Big is a very fun name to say. We learnt that from the from the Bathurst endurance race. Big. I'm making myself giggle. This is what my life has come to. I'm just sat here yelling Big, making myself giggle. You know, we've got to... You got to make yourself laugh at some points. Oh, Lord. So I am still checking the chat as well. You know, you can talk to me, you know, text the commentator. Please. And we'll talk about my my lovely takeaway yesterday in just a moment. As we've got 16 minutes left on the qualifying. Wait, I'm not used to being awake this late. Whew. You can just see Toby Long there making some changes to the car. I think I've just heard that engine start there, so we may be seeing him get off. But Sylvain Hubble on 152.157 to solidify a second gap between himself and I was about to say between himself and Bingos at longest, but actually between himself and David Matario there from the Man Jocks Cats Racing, the 269 car. A 152.375, putting himself just over 2 tenths behind the Mercedes of Hubble. So that is a very, very, very interesting one. That could be a good fight. We'll have to see if he can improve through the course of the next 15 minutes. It does look like the track might actually be starting to dry up as well. You can see in the weather forecast there, heavy rain, then in the next 10 minutes down to light rain. So the track could actually start to dry up. Obviously with only 10 cars, you know, that's 40 wheels heading across it. That is not going to disperse as much water, but we could still see a good amount of speed and time come out of here, but the track does look very, very wet at this moment in time. We'll have to see. You can see the focus on the driver's face. He's like, oh, yeah, focused. Now we'll see the final few corners. This is make or break for this lap. If you mess up these corners, you can quite easily invalidate, but you can also quite easily lose time. And just like that was exactly what I was talking about. I don't know if that lap will be valid. Either way, it was slower. 153.5 there, so that was not really what you would have wanted to see on the final corner. As I said, you know, you run wide there and you are going to be able to lose an absolute bucket of time. And you can see there he's pulled back into the pit lane for a change. What class championships are still open? Well, let us have a little experimentation. So... I'm just gathering by points. Bronze looks all wrapped up. Silver, there is a 7-point gap between Joel and Toby Long. In GT4, the drivers that have come from the look of it won't be able to make a dent. There is a gap between Jay Blomman, who isn't here today, and FXI, who I'm not sure about who that is, of math of 7 points as well. And in Platinum, it is a gap of 10 points between Sylvain Hubble and Pierre Moreno. So it looks like Platinum could be the championship that is up for grabs today. On track, as Sylvain Hubble and Beeg are the two drivers in second and third, respectively, of that championship. GT4 and the bronze class look to be very much wrapped up. In GT4, Blomman is looking to take the title there, and in bronze is yourself, Fail Games. So there is not much up for grabs here today. It's the final send-off for this season. And then we will go away for a little while, have our nice lovely break between seasons, of which there will be events and things such as that over on the Racing Pals Discord server. Check the description for that. Which we run during the off seasons. It's just a way to unwind, and it's just a way to have some fun before we all put our serious caps back on for another season of GT3 and GT4 Motorsport. And let's give a big hand for our Racing Pals delegation, who have made the treacherous journey to the Nürburgring over hills and mountains to watch the N24 that was on this weekend. They made the pilgrimage. The pilgrimage. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. The pilgrimage to the Nürburgring. If there are periods I am silent, it's just because the racing speaks for itself, you know, in qualifying. There's not really much more that I can say. I mean, the top four has compacted now to be within a second of each other, which leaves Frederick Schoblem in a lovely place called No Man's Land, where he isn't under any form of threat really from the car behind and isn't really giving the car ahead all too much to sweat about. And then there we go, we see David there come within a tenth of Sylvain Hubble, being something longest now within 2/10, and then Rex Smadged within half a second, which is always what you want to see, within 3/10 really. And let's see what happens here, because there is a very, very small amount of time between Hubble and Notario for the lead of the qualifying session. With just under 6 minutes left, both of the drivers, I'm sure, will be wanting to push and, you know, end up on that top spot. Be able to control the rolling start. As remember, GT3 racing, there is a rolling start procedure. It's not a standing start. You start on a double file roll. So we'll have to see. It's been the longest actually now, while I was checking my other screen, has jumped up into provisional pole by quite a way actually. Just over 3/10 to P2, 151.742. So as I was saying, the track is looking like it's drying up. It might not look or say that it's drying up, but clearly the pace is coming in now. As we have just consistently seen the lap times fall, which could be down to, you know, drivers getting more into the race, the drivers getting more into the feel of the car and all the way around, but then it could also be down to the fact that the track is drying, or really even a factor of all of them as Hubble crosses the line 2 thousandths off of ahead of Bingus Bonga, so 151.740, beating out Bingus Bonga's 151.742. So it is starting to get close, and the track is, I believe, starting to actually dry up in the final 5 minutes of today's qualifying session. Now, Bingus Bongus, he's coming round the final corner. Is he going to be able to make up that little bit of time to put himself back on provisional pole? No! A 152.107, so he's got 2 more laps if he's out for the entirety of the laps. And the number 11 car has jumped up into 3rd place as well. Literally just over 2 tenths. And Simon Beek has jumped into 5th position. Just over half a second off the pole position of 152.255. So there is still a lot that can be gained here. Most drivers will get 1 more lap. Gary Rowe and Toby Long looks like they've bowed out of the session in 7th and 8th respectively. 2 drivers that we see together quite a lot. Gary Rowe and Toby Long used to run the identical Sportify Aston Martins either last season or the season before. Gary Rowe having moved to the BMW and Toby Long having moved to the Audi R8. Now with 1 minute and 30 seconds of qualifying left, most drivers will now be on their final lap. Bingus Bongus is headed back to the pit lane, currently in P2 provisionally. Simon Beek jumps up into 4th position at 151.995, breaking into the 51s. And here is your current provisional pole sitter, Sylvain Hubble. And Ontario has come across the line. P3, 151.945, 7 tenths off of 1st position, and again 2 thousandths off of the number 11 car in P5. Frederick Shobham comes across the line, a 153.972. So for the majority of the drivers who are currently out on track, this will be the final lap. Sylvain Hubble, a 151.217, his last lap a 151.685. He's still provisionally on pole. But will he be using this 1 more lap to just solidify that pole position and defend it from the cars behind, as you'd want to do? You know, you want to make sure that if you're going to be on pole, you want to be on pole by a comfortable margin, not by a hair's breadth. And we have seen the other drivers around today have been pulling out some good sector times. It's just been due to the weather, I believe, that it's been quite difficult to put it all together. Which is always something that is quite difficult to do, even in the dry conditions, is, you know, you can nail the first sector, you can have a bit of a bleh moment in the second sector, but then that can set you up bad for the first sector, and Simon Bigg finishes his qualifying session at 4/10 off of pole position, puts himself into second place, knocking Mingus McLongus down to third. And Rex Mathaj has headed into the pit lane as well to end his session off P5. Notario has headed in for P4, which I think will mean that Sylvain Hubble will be very, very safe in pole position as he comes round the final corner. There is one more car out on the track, and that is Joel, the 406 BMW, but across the line, Sylvain Hubble, a 151.377 to put himself into provisional pole. And there is your qualifying order. Hubble, Bigg, Mingus McBungus, Notario, Rex Mahaj, Shoblem, Rowe, Long, Fabich, Joel, and Connor Fuchs. So, for people that are unaware, this is class-based racing. The white background with black number is platinum. The grey background with white number is silver. The red background with black number is bronze. And the white background with a little blue triangle on it is GT4. So keep in mind, class-based racing, really you've got to settle the classes down into their own separate races. Hubble, Bigg, Notario, and Rex Mahaj will be fighting each other. Bingus, Bongus, Shoblem, and Long and Joel will be fighting each other. Gary Rowe is winning his class, and Fabich and Fuchs as well. They're all on the same track. However, finishing first overall and finishing first in your class does not change the amount of points you get. It's all based on your class position. So with a 1 minute 30 seconds until the race gets underway, it will be Sylvain Hubble leading us on the formation lap. They go around in single file, warm the tyres, warm the brakes, and then get themselves ready for the 1 hour sprint race that they have ahead of them. With one required pit stop for tyres. You do not need to take fuel, but you know, if you think that your strategy can be faster if you do fuel, if you do fuel and tyres in the stop, then you can do faster. You know, it's all down to your own individual testing and what you think is right. Which obviously there are pros and cons to every strategy out there. So here you go then, off for the formation lap, the warm-up lap, as they call it. You can see the cars there just appearing off. The brake lights coming off and on to warm up the brakes as well. Not sure where I'm gonna put put this, really. I'm not sure who's gonna finish where, who's gonna be where, who's gonna beat who knows. Now I have to quickly sprint and get the front door. Back in a minute. It was an Amazon delivery, everybody. My mama's ordered something off of Amazon, and for some reason it's come at 8:30 at night. So I feel bad for the poor Amazon driver. He has clearly had quite a stacked day today, it seems. Let's give a big hand for all the Amazon drivers out there, making sure we get our stuff that we order off of Amazon. And all the Hermes drivers as well, and all the other drivers who ensure we get our items in a timely manner. And that they arrive not broken. I don't know what I'm saying. We're getting 2x2 now, down into the chicane. Sylvain Hubble on the inside, Simon Bieg on the outside. And then for the final time this season, as they come around the final corner, I will get to say, at some point, maybe today, now, it's lights out and away we go! Told you about to say it. And then the run down to turn one, all the cars together. Turn one can cause some tricky situations, but it looks all safe at the minute. It's Mercedes, 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 Mercedes. Simon Bieg has to go a bit wide, gets a bit of a bump up the rear end by the 269 car, and it looks like Bingus at Bungus has lost out on the start as well. He's going side by side behind, but right now we've got this as there is a yellow flag. It was Gary Rowe. I'm not quite sure what's happened there, but Sylvain Hubble, this free soon-to-be four-way Mercedes fight. Bingus McBungus as well has dropped down into P8. I'm not quite sure what's happened there for the Aston Martin, but he's under pressure from Gary Rowe. Does it look like Frederick Schoppler went for a bit of a slide there as well? But we are going to stick with this battle just for a little while. We're going to jump on board the helicopter camera, and you can see it is Mercedes, 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 Mercedes. Simon Bieg is looking for the outside at turn 10. This could be a risky strat. Sylvain Hubble gets turned round. Sylvain Hubble is round at turn 10. He is rejoining in last position, back of the pack. That looked like he just got lightly tapped. We're not going to be able to see it, but that was wow. I'm going to see if I can quickly just grab a replay of that, because that was a very, very close one. Here we go. We're going to jump back on the replay. Let's have a look. Sylvain Hubble, the black car, goes inside. It looks like Notero just doesn't slow down enough, gives him that little bit of a love tap. Hubble does turn the car around, but it's not enough. as now Simon Beeg has been promoted into the race lead with Notario behind him. And Joel is there as well, so it's a German top 4. German top 6. Really, with 57 minutes on the clock, we'll have to see how this goes. That is going to have been very, very annoying for Sylvain Hubble there. You know, 1 minute you're there just, you know, watching the race go by, and the next minute you're facing the other direction. You're like, what's happened here? And you never know, but Hubble now has a mountain to climb, and Simon B currently in the lead of the race, but not quite. He goes deep at turn 10. It's side by side. Ooh. Yeah, that was fine. That was good. Ignore the weird noise there. Now that puts David Notario into the lead of the race. What we are going to quickly do is just go back and have a look here. This was a collision between the 11 car and the 8 car. This was into turn 3. You can see they just get a little bit of side-by-side contact. That's what caused the yellow flag there for Gary Rowe. He actually avoided that quite well. And then a bit further on, there was a collision between the 951 and the 8 car. That would be Schoblum. And this must have been what put Bingus at Bongus down a few positions there. He just got a bit of a side on tap. And that is not what you would have wanted. And what we are going to quickly do, actually, is just go back to this collision earlier. This is on board David Notario on Sylvain Hubble. You can see, yeah, the car just hasn't slowed down enough. And Hubble is right there. And that's put him round. Hubble now P9, 8 tenths off of Gary Rowe. But then there's a 4.5 second gap to claw back between himself and Frederick Schoblum. And then a 5 second gap between himself and Bingus at Bongus. And then a 5.5 between himself and Toby Long. And a huge amount as Simon Beeg there goes to the move into turn 10 and makes it happen. Makes it stick, which that was a very, very good move there from the number 95 Mercedes. But this pack is still very close together. The leading Mercedes with Joel there, who is currently leading his class, keep in mind. So really, we've got the packs together. It's the battle for platinum, -1 up front. First, second, and third, 8 tenths between them all, under a second. Then Joel in P4 leading his class in silver. And then Gary Rowe leading his class in bronze. Gary Rowe is headed into the pit lane. I'm not sure what for. Maybe he's got damage. Maybe he needs work. We'll have a look. He has come into the pit lane. We are just having a look to see if there is any damage on that car. I can see a little bit. Has he run out of fuel? Looks like he's pulling into the garage there, and that's gonna maybe be a retirement for him. Sounded like and looked like he'd run out of fuel, which isn't what you want. But this fight up front, still happening, still occurring. And I can actually see a fight back behind as well. Bingus at Bongus on Toby Long. He looked down there into turn 10, but it wasn't quite to be. And yep, as our expectations were, Gary Rowe has indeed retired from the race. I think he might not have had enough fuel. We'll see if we get any confirmation on that, but you can indeed see that Bingus at Longest now fighting a battle on two fronts. He's chasing down the Audi ahead and he's running from the Porsche behind. And you never quite know in these situations where it is going to go. Who is going to finish where? Who's going to be ahead? Who's going to be behind? Who's going to do what? That will always be a very, very interesting situation to be in. But it looks like Bingus and Mongus has just clawed it up the inside. Maybe the Audi will try down the inside into the next corner. No, there isn't enough of a gap there for him. So that is Bingus and Mongus back up into P5. But now about a 2.5 second gap between himself and Joel ahead. You can just see there at the edge of the camera in each shot. Now back up to our leading fight. David Ontario still chasing down Simon Beeg. Is it Davide or David? I'm not sure. I'm gonna guess Davide. Look, I'm not good at names, okay? Stop bullying. Or I'll cry. When? So still Mercedes. And we will have to just see how this fight goes, because, you know, they're pulling and pushing on each other. 1 minute Beeg pulls ahead, next minute Davide pulls it back. I've got South Park stuck in the head now. I'm blaming everyone else but myself. And Gunnar Fuchs has taken his pit stop already with actually under 50 minutes, actually over 50 minutes left to go. We're only into the first 10 minutes of today's race. So let's see now where we are. Who is where? Still unchanged. That gap up ahead has come down. So there is definitely racing still to be done. It's 6/10 gap. Hell yeah. Between the two cars up in the lead, and they've pulled away from the number 11 car quite substantially over the past few laps, but they've stayed pretty close together, all things considered. hard on the brakes there from Davide. And it looks like we're fine through that corner. It could have been close, but it looks like the cars had enough braking there to get themselves through. But we are still nose to tail. 3/10 is the gap between first and second position. It could go either direction. Could be anyone's race here. And Sylvain Hubble just has to catch up. There's a championship here for him, I believe, is on the cards. If he can pull 11 points in today's race. That is the ask, isn't it? 11 points in today's race after what has happened at the start of the race for the Mercedes driver. It's going to be an interesting one. The number 11 car has pulled into the pits as well. 46 minutes left to run of today's race. And it looks like he has boxed 4. Here's a mandatory pit stop, so he's going for the long haul by the look of it, which... you know, I can give kudos for that. Some drivers will want the long haul, some drivers will want the short haul. It's always a little bit of a gamble. If you go long, you're out for long, but you can make the tyres and everything work and keep it consistent. You can be all right. Because in the helmet now is Simon Beek, current race leader. You can see just in the mirror there, the car behind him. We head down for the start of lap 8, using as much of that outside curve as they can possibly get away with. It's how you make the car quicker. You use as much of the track as is available to you. Listen out for the engine note there. You can hear where they go off of the throttle and then where they go back on it. Again, you can hear just there where the throttle comes off or when the throttle goes on. Same for every corner. Really, you can see where throttle's on, where throttle's off. But that gap now under 3/10 between first and second. Toby Long here, you can see Hubble in the background looking scary as well. He's going to try down the inside of 1, down the inside of 2. Brilliant move there from the Mercedes. Clawing his way back up the pack. Now that puts him in P5, but a huge mountain to climb now towards Bingus and Bongus and Vincent Joel. 7.6 seconds between the two drivers. But this is also the battle for the lead of Silver Class, the Aston Martin and the BMW. Not quite sure who to hedge the bet on here. If you are a Huski red customer, you can press the red button now, as there is a yellow flag. I'm not sure why. It's Toby Long. What has happened here for the Audi? Let us have a look. We'll jump back. This is going down the straight. Keep a watch out. Has he lost the car on his own, or has he been assisted by Frederick Schoblem? Down into the first couple of corners now. Turn 1. Hits the curb as you normally would. And the back of the car's just gone. Oh! There was indeed a bit of assistance there from Frederick Schoblem. I think the Audi was already going. He could have caught it, but the Porsche had other plans for him. And that is why when you're spinning, it is a terrifying moment, because if there's a car behind you, it is unavoidable in some cases. Sylvain Hubble, 8.5 seconds to claw back to the lead pack of silver, but then he would have 12 seconds. He has more or less 20.5 seconds to get back to the pack of GT3 Platinum. That is definitely a very, very hard ask, but he has been clawing his way back. I mean, you can just about see him there in the far background of the shot as we look. I mean, keep your eyes on the right-hand side. There he is. You can see him coming into the corner, so there is hope there. I'm not sure if he'd be able to see the two cars. However, he definitely will be able to sense that the gap is coming down a little bit each lap, but is it going to be enough? Because keep in mind, he's currently third position in class. It's class-based racing, so in reality, he's not gaining or losing anything by catching up to these guys. Just the opportunity to move further up in his own class and solidify the title. He needs 11 points by my maths. To take the Platinum title. So it's definitely possible, but it's going to be a very, very, very tall order for him, I think. Say it'd be a tall order for anyone really to gain that amount. But you never know what will come about as the race goes on. So we will definitely be watching with intrigue, I would say, is the word we're looking for here. At the race, we're 1/3 of the way through. And Hubble is cutting that gap down after the lap 1 collision. This is still the fight to watch. Bingus at Bongus against Vincent Joel. Car you'd expect to see a man working in an office driving, and car you're expecting to see a man who works in an office but is having a midlife crisis and only drives it on the weekend. Driving. I guess that's how I see that BMW, and that has to mind. BMW is just man who works in office, possibly works in law, possibly an accountant. And then the Aston Martin, probably the same guy, probably works in law, maybe accounting, but this is his weekend car. You know, it's on a lease, it's probably on a hire. You know, he probably just drives it around, goes down the golf club and goes, look at me, I own an Aston Martin. And everyone's like, yes, we know you rent it because, you know, we see you turn up with a different Aston Martin each week and you're not changing the colour of your car every week. Could you imagine how long it would take to change the colour of a car? I mean, not even just painting it, just getting the paperwork done. Phew. As we are actually going to jump back up to the battle between P1 and P2. They are side by side for, I think that's turn 3. No, it's not. It's the final couple of corners, actually. And it looks like Davide is going to make the move stick on Simon Bieg there to take the lead of Platinum Glass for now with 37 minutes left of today's race. Simon Bieg has got a mountain now as he was leading for quite a lot of the first half of this race. Now he's in second place, so now he's going to be the one doing the fighting and not the defending. Now, I don't know specifically, but I know some drivers are better attacking, some drivers are better defending. I myself feel more at home defending than I do attacking, knowing where to place the car and just being a pain rather than attacking. But some drivers prefer to be on the attack, on the assault of the car ahead. There is obviously an upside and a downside to both, as we are now going to jump back to the lead. Project A, Project Accountants. Yes. Project Accounting. Gotta love some accounting. As here we do see Bingus at Longest and Vincent Joel looking together. They're gonna come up against the GT4 of Fabish. Now, I'm not quite sure where they're gonna come across him. There's a good place and a bad place to come across the GT4. It looks like they're gonna come across him in the corner. No, Fabish does actually slow up a bit to minimize the amount of impact he has over this battle, but there was still a little bit of an impact. Again, not on the GT4, it's just the way multi-class racing works. Bingus Among Us looks to the inside, but Joel goes no and shuts that door very, very quickly to make sure that the Aston Martin cannot get through. 35 minutes left on the clock. It is still Vincent Joel leading Bingus Among Us in the silver class. In platinum, it's now Davide Notario in the lead, and Simon Bieg in P2, who's come in for his pit stop. We are in the pit window now that I like to say exists between 35 minutes and 25 minutes. That 10-minute window is when we most commonly see drivers stop. And it looks like Simon Bieg is pulling in for the stop now, maybe to try and undercut Davide as much as possible. And once again, coming across the GT4, that was Fuchs there, the 909 Porsche, who gets a little bit of sand, but doesn't really do much. And we can see in the background Sylvain Hubble getting a bit stuck behind Fabish. Again, not really on the GT4, as it were. It's just the luck of where you come across them. The rule for GT4 is stick to your line, stay predictable, and don't actively defend. That doesn't mean throw yourself off of the racing line like they do in other motorsports that are out there on the market. That's a very bad cough. I need to get that looked at. And Simon Bieg has picked up a 30-second stop-go penalty. That will be massive for him as Bingus Among Us into the sand. He has kept it out of the barrier. He's kept it out of the track markers as well. But that is not what the American would have wanted, as that has now given Vincent Joel a 3-second gap. And that has meant that Sylvain Hubble has jumped his gap down from 5.5 seconds now to 2.5 seconds on Bingus Bongus. That is massive. Now, are we going to see any cars boxing in this lap? The two cars at the top of Silver saying no. Davide Notario has come in. Sylvain Hubble stays out. I'm not too sure where this is going to go now, but Simon Bieg, a 30-second stop-go penalty that could pretty much be his race cut and dry. That would have been a speeding in the pit lane offence. And I'm sure he's going to be kicking himself at that. And I think Sylvain Hubble will be able to take the win of the championship in his current position, P2 on the road. Just keep in mind, he's ahead on the road because of pit stops right now. Oh, as Bingham Longest heads into the pit lane, Vincent Joel stays out. Though we are still in this 10-minute-ish window that I like to say does exist. Boxing in now, so Vincent Joel, your current leader on the road, current leader of Silver Class as well. We're now going to have a quick gander back. Here was the collision between the 951 and the 71 car. We're going to jump on board with the 951 car of Frederick Schobelin. Watch for 71 ahead. He's already lost the back, has hit the brakes, and yeah, I don't think there was anywhere really for Schobelin to go there. And we will take a look at that one more time from the rear wing of the Sportify car. Again, you can see the back stepped out, and yeah, the Porsche was already there. Yeah, there's not really much you can say about that. And here was a collision between the 49 and the 63. Oh, almost a carbon copy of what happened earlier on in the race. He has managed to stay together. And here was the collision between the 49 and the 269 earlier on. Sylvain Hubble, this is what's put him in his position he's in now. Got turned around by the 269 car. And that was not something he would have wanted. As now they have all pitted in, so we will have to see what occurs, because we are a little bit away from the finish of today's race. Davide Ontario comes up to take the lead of the race once more. And Simon Beek has served his 30-second stop go, so Schobelin is in the pits. He's the only driver that is needed to pit at this moment in time. And Fabic is now the only car left on circuit that needs to pit. There is no real pit window. You just have to box at some point. However, natural pit window sort of does make itself as the race goes on. Now, Simon Beeg will be chasing down Toby Long. This is a out-of-class battle. So it's not really one that makes a huge deal of difference in the grand scheme of things. That was close. Oh, they're getting very, very door-to-door. Through the corners, the Audi looks to try and cut back. But I don't think he's made it happen. No, there wasn't enough of an overlap there to make that happen. Especially in that corner, it sort of goes a bit further than what you expect. And getting a cut back there can be rather difficult. Now it'll be Simon Beeg up into P7 overall. But this is a battle that has occurred once again. But this time, roles have swapped. Vincent Joel, the Randell Racing BMW, against Bingus Bongus, the Aston Martin Golf. Aston Martin. The clue was sort of in the name. Together for the lead of Silver Class. And there is the number 11 GT3 car just up ahead as well. There's a half a second gap between the number 8 and the 406. Now let's see, as Vincent Joel is still chasing down Mingus Abungus, who himself is chasing down the number 11 Platinum car. This is an out-of-class battle, but second place overall is what is there at the end of it. And really, that GT3 up ahead, that Mercedes, is really what is being the cork in the bottle for the BMW to really close that gap up, which he has now between 2 tenths. He's giving a flash to the Aston Martin. I'm not sure if he's unhappy or what. So we will see now. The BMW is right up the rear bumper. Longest goes to the inside, defends a corner. There is the 909 GT4 of Fuchs up ahead as well, the Porsche, who goes wide to and try and get out the way as much as possible. The BMW is going to have to go round at the entrance of the corner. He's going to slow himself down a little bit through the corner. There is a yellow flag. It is for Toby Long, who is off on the circuit. Let's see what has happened here. Once again, the back has just left itself out. Gave it a bit too much of a throttle punch there. And it's happened again. So we'll have a look what's happened here now for Toby Long as well. He's just got going from the previous one. And the back's come out again. Has hit the curb and it goes around. But he's okay. Still going as now the BMW right on the rear bumper of Bingus Obongus. He is flashing like there's no tomorrow. He is definitely, I think, getting a bit ratty there, as I think maybe some of the driving that Bingus Obongus, me obviously being impartial, has been doing might have ruffled his feathers a little bit. It seems to be the times that I go back, they've all seemed to accordion themselves together, which being the car at the back of the accordion can make it very, very annoying and very, very frustrating to be the one behind there. But we will see that BMW. Is very, very racy. And it looks like Bingus Obongus shoves one down the inside of the Mercedes. That is what he's going to have been wanting for the last couple of laps. Just to try and open himself out to be able to build a gap to Vincent Joel behind as well. With 20 minutes now on the clock, Vincent Joel has to get past the Mercedes, who he's giving a flash. I'm not sure why, because, you know, this is technically a battle for position. You could see a half sort of look there from Vincent Joel into turn 10. Now, Bingus Obongus is looking like he's building that gap. 1.3 seconds between himself and the number 11 car already. So definitely looking like the Bingus Obongus could build the gap here. It all depends on where Vincent Joel can get past this Mercedes. If he can get past this Mercedes, who is very, very much holding him off. He's going to look to the inside here, maybe. No, not quite. He's going to maximize the exit, I would expect. Try and get as much of the draft as possible down towards turn 10. He's a lot closer this time than he was, but the Mercedes goes to the inside, goes back to the outside. Manages the defense through turn 10, it looks. Yes, it does. Oh, and he goes round. All on his own. He's gone round. That gives Vincent Joel the position now. But he's got 2.7 seconds to catch between himself and Bingus Obongus. That, I think, might for him be a little too late. And Hubble has managed to get round as well to move up into second place in Platinum class. 2.9 seconds separate Bingus at Bongus and Vincent Joel, P1 and 2 in silver respectively. Sylvain Hubble has come back from his collision at the start of the race to P2 in class. And Simon Beek is still in the pits. I think maybe he's retiring that car for today's race. I am just doing a very, very quick bit of math because Sylvain Hubble needs 11 points. No, he doesn't. He needs only 10 points to clear Pierre Moreno and to win the championship by my math. 36 points for Pierre Moreno, 26.5 for Sylvain Hubble. First place gives you 16 and a second place gives you 13, but third place gives you 10. And silver class, Vincent Joel is currently 7 points clear of Toby Long, so he is your silver champion today, this season. He has a grand total of 48 points clear of Bingus at Bongus, so there isn't really any chance for him losing the championship. Toby Long is the next car who is 7 points behind, but with a 13 points versus a 8 points, he will come across to win the title this season in the silver class. Obviously, please make sure that math, not my strong suit. It is subject to change of me being bad at math. But if my math is correct, that is how it will be at this moment in time. What did car 11 do to get a drive through? Car 11 didn't get a drive through. Oh, most likely track cuts. I would say. Yeah, looks like it'd be track cuts that have picked him up there. He has also retired the car from today's race. So that is a sad turn of events. Oh, so we will see with 11 minutes left to go. Your current race leaders in each class are Neterio in Platinum, Bingus at Bongus in Silver, and in GT4 is Fabich. Your current leaders in each class. So we will have to see. Sylvain Hubble has had a very up and down race today. He had that collision on lap 1. Just saw him round, but he has climbed back up now to P2 in class. So we will see how the rest of the race runs out. So with 9.5 minutes left, there isn't going to be much in the realm of climbing and falling, I don't think. So we will have a gander and a look with 8-ish minutes left on the clock. Beeg has managed to pick himself up a drive-through penalty. But for a lot of drivers, we will be seeing their final run of the season. Ow. I'll just punch a microphone at it. So 5 minutes just over left on the clock. We are now coming up to the final portion. Everyone has pitted. We are getting to the end now. So, with a couple of minutes left, 2 more laps. Vincent Joel, P2 in silver class, will be taking the championship of that class today. If my math is correct, Hubble should be taking the class title as well for platinum. Stream chat hasn't updated. There is nothing on the stream chat. I don't know what you're telling me to do. There is nothing there. It's all stuff I've answered. Where? Where? See, now stream chat's updated. It's Fail Game saying hello. You're asking me questions and I can't see them. I'm scared. Davide will be coming around for the final lap of today's race. One more lap after this. What? Bruh. Bruh. They both sound terrible. Bruh. Like, okay, wait, I need some more, like... I need some more context. Is it, like, one grape, like, you know, one grape and you're done? Or, like, one pineapple and you're done? Or is it, like, a machine gun of grapes and, like, one pineapple? I need context here. I need context. Has a decision been made on the future of GT4? Not to my knowledge. As yet. However, I believe there will be communication about this from the directors of Racing Pals in the off season as to the future of GT4, if it's still being run, if it's not being run, if it's being shelved for permanent or for, you know, a short amount of time or what. It'll all come down to, you know, whatever communications we get over the off season, really. But we see Davide now coming into the final sector. I mean, both sound terrible, but if I had to choose, I would probably go with the pineapple. As there we go, across the line to take the victory comes Davide Notario. Take the victory of Platinum Class. Sylvain Hubble will come through to take P2 in class. Bingus at the Bongus comes through to take the win of Silver, with Toby Long finishing 4th in Silver. Vincent Joel will come through to take P2 in the Silver class. And now we're just waiting on a few more cars. Frederick Schoblem actually coming through P5 overall. I'm still not 100% sure as to why Jort is asking me if I'd rather urinate a grape or, you know, excretiate a pineapple, but sure, okay. And there we go, across the line, Frederick Schoblem comes through to take 3rd position in the Silver class. We're just waiting now for Fabish to come across the line. He's coming through the final few corners now in our bowing out of Season 7 of the RP series, brought to you by HSPN and all of the other broadcasting corporations like Huski Sport and the the GBC. And there is your finishing order. Natero comes through to take the win of Platinum, followed by Hubble in P2 and Simon Beeg in P3, with the number 11 car of Rex Hatchmadge not finishing a race. In Silver, Bingus at Bongus came through to take the win. Vincent Joel, P2, takes the title by my maths, if it's correct. Frederick Schoblem in 3rd and Toby Long in 4th. Then in GT4, Fabish and Fuchs come through there, P1 and 2 respectively, with Gary Rowe, the only bronze class car, not finishing, retiring after 4 laps into the race. Now, that was a season to remember. Next season will be communicated over the Discord server, with the off-season events coming as well as they do. And we will be noticing maybe some changes. Here is, at least as far as I believe, your Platinum champion, Sylvain Hubble, and your Silver champion, the Randall Racing 406 car of Vincent Joel. Very, very good season from the two drivers respectively. We will see how they take part next season. We'll see if Joel bumps up to Platinum with the win in the Silver Championship this season, or if, you know, he's still not ready to jump up to Platinum and will be defending his Silver title. Until then, though, until next time, until next season, I've been Husky. Thank you very much for watching.